This kills me. The 49ers still need a safety. Tyrann Mathieu is still available. He's been the guy I've pointed to all offseason as the perfect fit because although he's not what he used to be, he is still a playmaker. He had 3 picks last year. He had 3 fumble recoveries last year. He is what the Niners don't have. He's still available. They have never been linked to him. They have shown zero freaking interest. And why? What am I missing here? How is he not better than George Odom and Talanoa? Please explain why they're not even kicking. They kick the tires on everyone, not Tyrann Mathieu.
Usually I have measured answers. I'm a fan of nuance. I'm a fan of taking emotion out of it, Grant. But in this one, I have to give you my emotionally damaged answers with the acknowledgement that I'm in a weird place because this offseason's made me a little cray-cray, if you will, right? It just hasn't gone as I expected it to go. And I'm losing it here, Grant. But my first one is because they're cheap, Grant. Jed's a damn tightwad, and he's trying to line his pockets with money. And, they just won't pony up. And then I have to look at the evidence, and I'm like, all right, the 49ers aren't cheap because I can disprove that theory. Look at the number of max contracts that they're giving out per position. They're constantly spending up to the cap. And then I've got to yell, no, it's because of Jimmy. Grant, it's all Jimmy's fault. Jimmy's on the roster. This one's harder to disprove. Like, this is an emotional one, but there's a little bit of truth to this. Can the 49ers move around some additional contracts and free up some money? Yes. And they still have a draft class to sign, and they're going to need to move that money in order to sign that draft class. Can they sign a couple of fringe players? Yes, they absolutely can. Can they afford a big ticket guy like Tyrann Mathieu without getting Jimmy off the books? I just don't know. I don't know that the math plays out on that one.
I got a theory. Signing Tyrann Mathieu, 30-year-old DB, that's a big win now move. A big win now move. 30-year-old DB, that's not for next year. That's for right now. I think the Niners are being careful not to give the impression that they're making any win now moves. I mean, they got younger at like 5 positions. The one move they made this offseason was signing a 25-year-old corner. And special teams, I think they're trying not to put that pressure on Trey Lance.
Right.
Trey's going to start this year, but we are not a championship team. You know what I'm saying? Last year was all about your championship roster. Got to start Jimmy. Hey, man. We almost missed the playoffs last year. We're going young at a lot of spots. Like, don't put that kind of pressure on Trey. I think they're really being careful not to make – I mean, we're saying go all in. They're like, no, we are not all in. Maybe next year, but we don't want to do that. I think that's how they're looking at it. For right or wrong, I think that's how they're looking at it.
Hold back a little bit, right? Yeah. I think you're onto something because look at the backup quarterback position. Take Jimmy Garoppolo out of it. Let's acknowledge that they are going to do what they need to do to get Jimmy off of this roster. I think there's like a 1/10 of 1% that he's actually the backup quarterback for this year. They signed Nate Sudfeld to guaranteed money because of the idea that, dude, if Trey struggles, can you honestly picture a fan in the stands being like, Sudfeld? Right?
Exactly.
So
takes the pressure off of him.
Takes the pressure off of Trey. He can screw up a little bit. Guess what? He's a second-year player. He's probably going to. We're going to need to have some patience there. So I think there's something to this, Grant.
A lot of vets left.
Yes.
A lot of vets gone. A lot of guys. Those guys came up with Jimmy. Played with Jimmy for 5 years. Lakin Tomlinson, DJ Jones, gone. Jaquaski Tart, K1, gone. Also, a lot of coaches on offense. Quarterback coach, wide receiver coach, tight end coach. Guys who've been here for 5, it is a whole new beginning.
Yeah,
on offense for the 49ers.
I got to say, if I take my fan self out of it and look at it from a business perspective, I got to admit, as frustrating as it is as a fan, it's a pretty reasonable approach. Like, it's pretty reasonable to hedge a little bit.
But here's what kills me, all right? So they're looking like, look, we don't want to put that pressure on Trey. We don't know what we're going to be. We can miss the playoffs. Dude, forget all that. Jimmy sucks. I'm sorry. You're a Jimmy. Jimmy sucks. And you took him to the NFC Championship twice. He didn't take you. You took him. And you did it with Debo. And Debo's 26. He's in his freaking prime. Go for it. Go for it right now. Sign Tyrann Mathieu. Like, what are you doing? It's not about your quarterback. You have the most valuable non-quarterback in the league. You're going to pay him that way. Don't punt. You're not tanking, but I'd call it punting. You're punting this season. Don't do that.
And it's a bipolar type of a way to interact. Last year, you're like, we're pushing all our chips into the middle of the table. This year, it's like, let's slow down a little bit. Let's be a little more conservative. And then next year, we're pushing all of our chips into the. To me, it's like hot and cold. It's, hey, you decided last year you were taking a big swing. Keep taking big swings. Like, that's the advantage of having this rookie on that deal, is to take some big swings. So what if you miss? That's why you have him on that deal.
I've never heard of a team making it to a conference championship game and not going all in the next year.
Right?
Like,
the window is open and they're like,
you're on deck. Yeah, no, you're the team that people are picking to win the Super Bowl next year. They made it this close. They need like one or two things. The Niners are like, what? No. We're a little rebuild, mini rebuild. But if you give us 2 or 3 years, we'll be good. Like, we were that was a fluke. We're not gonna build that. We probably actually 9 times out of 10 missed the playoffs last year.
So do you know how lucky we got last year?
Do you understand how freaking lucky we got last year? That's basically been what their attitude this year. Niner fans are like, really was really hoping you wouldn't say that, but you did.